there's happiness.
In basic design, you learn that when you create a thing, you want to make that thing readable. The same principle applies to framing shots. You need to make sure that your subjects are lit properly and distinct from the foreground and background, which is even more important when shooting in black and white. Vivzipop took that and threw it out the window when framing this vignette. Everything blends together, causing the silhouettes of the characters to be barely visible. If some of the background ones were a slightly lighter gray, the overall legibility of this scene would have been a lot better.
To find it, how often I've tried, but my life...
Although smooth, the animation of this demon does not fit the storybook motif the video is going for here. If you want to use a specific style, you need to commit to it. Otherwise, you end up creating inconsistencies while also, in this case, increasing the work you have to do.
Why have I always been a failure?
The opening minute of this pilot is overstuffed with way too much exposition for the audience to keep up.
I wonder if the world's to blame.
This shot is a perfect summary of everything good and bad about this pilot. Some parts are very well polished, and others are shaky and not quite up to par with everything else. They also implemented some strange, unnecessary design choices. And to top it all off, not all the eyes are finished. Here's a rendition that one of our scriptwriters suggests could have made for a better scene. Two things. One, those extras in the background are copy-pasted, with only tiny splatters of blood to tell them apart. And two, this scene has no actual significance. It never comes up again, nor does it affect the episode in any way, so showing it here is pointless.
I'm always chasing rainbows.
Paper doesn't work like that. The whole thing would be flopping, not just the corners. Also, this paper isn't stuck to anything, and has nothing holding it down.
Watching clouds drifting by.
The stepped animation of the lighthouse lens next to the smooth sweeping light beam looks a bit odd.
My schemes are just like all my dreams.
Charlie's hairlines are so shaky, I could have sworn it was animated out of sync with her main hair blob. But really, the problem is that there's no defining spots that it connects to, and is likely following a shoddy storyboard rather than any good guideline. Hey, animators, having consistent body shapes would be nice. Charlie's bust can't decide if it's smooth or pointy.
Look and find the sunshine.
The trope of locations that use wordplay inspired by its residents is so overused and makes no sense. This issue is rampant in things like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, where you have places like Manhattan, Las Pegasus, Canterlot. That's like if you named places Harehattan, Las British, and Run-A-Lot. That makes no sense and is just incredibly lazy.
I always look and find the rain.
You can always tell which characters in a pilot are meant to stick around for future episodes if they're just as over-designed as the protagonist. This is an adult film studio that has named itself after what it makes. Last time I checked, Apple doesn't own orchards. They make phones. You get what I'm trying to say?
Some fellows make a winning sometime.
An artist shouldn't have wasted hours of their time creating this incredibly detailed drawing only for it to barely show up in the background for a couple seconds. Although interesting, this flashes by too quickly to read and isn't important to the story of the episode. This could have been cut along with other parts of the opening, and it would have made no difference to the story. Also, what messaging service wouldn't have a place for you to type? This really must be hell.
Never even make a game believe me.
The lines on the awning aren't connected when they first enter the frame. This paintbrush has no paint on it, yet it paints a line. Also, the paint line shifts when Rosie begins the next one. The animators forgot that this guy was supposed to have insides, so his tongue and spine show up at the last minute. That, or they were trying to creep out the viewer at the last moment? In any case, this shot is either anatomically messed up, or it's just not very scary.
Rainbow.
This background guy's walking animation is so fricked. This could have easily been fixed by making his right leg a little bit darker than the one closer to the screen, or by maybe designing characters with depth. A rampant issue in this animation is that the characters are very flat visually. Also, the floating thing above his head can't stay the same size. Normally, 3D animators have a reason to have sets that drop off into space. But this is 2D. Don't draw a void!
Waiting to find a little blue.
Are you crying? I thought the song was rather pleasant. One issue with this animation is that it feels less like a polished pilot for a show and more like a really well-polished MAP, or multiple animator project. Between these two frames alone, Charlie's bangs go over her eye, her neck becomes longer, she shifts position, her hair drapes behind her instead of to the side, the shading on her arm changes color, and her bust and head change shape. Editor, could you give me a style switch sin counter? Because this is beginning to become a problem. Thank you. What would I do without you?
Waiting to find a little bluebird.
A wonderful way to make characters flatter than ever, have their eyebrows and eyes go over the hair. Come on now. This is a problem that's rampant in 90s anime. If you want to have a character with long hair, commit to it. This is the visual representation of an artist trying their best to show all the best parts of their character without committing to the design they made. Also, it's such a shame that only a few buildings get cool designs, while everything else is a generic cityscape. If you want to have a specialized city feel, you have to commit to the whole city. I have a feeling Vivian might have commitment issues. Someone forgot to finish the line art of the hair flowing. How do you even manage this? This is hand-drawn! Over 2 minutes into the video, this animation has the balls to say, "Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel," without showing us a single frame of the hotel this is supposedly supposed to take place in.
Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive!
This joke shows up in so many modern adult animations. Character says a thing, only for the story to immediately pull a bait and switch. It's been exhausted through shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons, and other big-name animated properties to the point where, honestly, it might be funnier if you subvert their expectations by following through with the original punchline. Oof, this guy's head looks like it gets air pumped into it like a balloon mid-sentence here. The lower half of this unfortunate vehicular homicide victim's body just disintegrates in a single frame once the car touches him.
Thanks for the fun time, hot stuff.
Why does Angel Dust's gold tooth stick out? I know this stems from anime and how cat girls have their fangs stick out, but that's because they're different from the other teeth. All of Angel Dust's teeth are the same size. Another case of this looks like an MAP, where we go from a colored line art style to a style that's more flat than Florida.
It was a quick cash grab. You got it?
How is Angel Dust's arm all the way over here? It shouldn't be able to bend this way because then it'd look like this.
Ouch! Ooh, such an insult.
Oh, hey! That's the same animator as before! The colored line art person. Why didn't they animate the scene of Angel Dust talking? Their style is nice. Not only did the animator change again, but the car is gone.
Let me know when you come up with something creative to call me, you sack of poorly packaged horse. Tell the missus I said hi.
Well, would you look at that? The animator's changed again! A part of Angel Dust's eyebrow line art disappears for a frame here. Angel, your butt arm is showing. Oh, another animator switch! The line art went from having varying weight to being one line weight. Not to mention, Angel's hand is drawn differently. These guys really are animating in short bursts, huh? The way Travis's car just flies off into the distance looks so awkward. Looks like this artist referenced League of Legends when they got to drawing the neck, because that thing's broken as heck. When Angel Dust opens his eye with this blink, one gets a line that follows the eye opening, while the other gets a line that disappears. You can't have both, friend. At least not with a character in a position like this. Also, just a moment ago, the roads had cracks in them and lines dividing the street. Now, nothing. Huh? That's BoJack Horseman in the background. A neat reference to an adult animation that's infinitely better than this.
Yoink! Hey! Up yours, drag show!
This guy isn't actually drawn smaller and smaller. He's animated at a flat profile run cycle, then just shifted to the side and shrunken down to give the illusion of running away.
Oh my god!
We couldn't think of a pun for our shop, but we sell hard drugs? Gosh, this really is just lazy. How hard could it be to think of a pun-related drug shop name? Here, I'll spitball a couple. Line Drug Shop, Crazy Blazin', Hard Drug Mart, Ninth Circle Speed, Coke and Stop. That wasn't so hard now, was it?
Those other cowardly sinners dare not hinder my territorial takeover!
You think with all the firing we saw a moment ago, the animators would bother to put some action in the scene to show that it's still happening?
A wise decision! The power of my machines are unmatched!
Ah, looks like there's another style switch. Editor, you know what to do.
Gee, that was pretty swell, boss.
This armpit sure likes to travel.
At this rate, I will seize control of the entire west side of the pentagram by day's end.
Why is it no one can consistently draw this control display? First it was flat, then it was a dome, now it's a giant disc. Hello? Where's the consistency?
And nothing, not a single piece.
Oh, the massive disc is now a tiny dome. Got it. The lines on Serpentius' jacket are shakier than the bridge Shrek and Donkey crossed to get to the Dragon's Keep. Come on, man. Every program has a line tool. Use it. Or maybe get rid of those stripes. I mean, they aren't that necessary. He's a giant snake thing. This is one of the only instances in this where a character could stay looking unique, losing a couple aspects of their design.
Oh, boy!
Wow, look at that. Another shot where all the detail on these characters is nothing but a hindrance to the animators. Who would have guessed? Look, when you design something, especially for animation, you want to make sure that that thing is as easy to draw for yourself as possible, while still being a clear, readable character.
What did you just say to me, you fried chicken fetuses?
A stray dot repeatedly shows up, since this egg's animation is looped. This bomb should have come from the side of the screen, not the bottom.
Why don't you get that Tinker Toy bullshit off my turf before I smash it? More.
Ladies and gentlemen, stock cool girl character who destroys the image of strong female characters. She has a slightly raspy voice, big colorful hair, and her bust is out. Not to mention her cocky attitude that obviously shows how strong and cool she is. Not that she's poorly thought out or anything. Uh-oh, the animators forgot to color in the bomb for this one frame. No wonder this part never looked quite right to me. This is a strange way to use exaggeration, likely because the camera doesn't move at all. That's all for now. This animation is really long, a whopping 30 minutes. To make these videos a digestible length, we're gonna cut off at points at where it feels natural. So far, this animation is not focused at all on the main plot of the show. A near entire 5 minutes wasted on showing off side characters and establishing shots that, in the long run, don't mean anything. You could shorten this down to a few select clips and set them after one of the later scenes, and it wouldn't change the story at all. Overall, not looking too hot. Get it? Because they're in heck. You see, that's how you do a pun. Stay tuned for part 2. We mean it this time. No, I've never heard of Scoob. Or The Incredibles 2. What are you talking about?
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess.
Guts. Huge guts.
Oh, boy!
No boy.
Warning, BFG 10,000 is fired.